Strong readers and writers grow up to be more confident speakers, better problem solvers, and great entrepreneurs.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer delivering her 8th and final State of the State address last night, calling for stronger literacy rates in our state. It's been a main focus for Governor Whitmer as Michigan ranks 44th in the nation in 4th grade reading.
Now, the governor says many of her policies can help those rates for Michigan students going forward. News 10's Isley Herschel, though, joins us live at the Capitol this morning with more on what some of those policies are and how state lawmakers are reacting to her State of the State address. Good morning, Isley.
Seth, Maureen, good morning. Political leaders on both sides of the aisle acknowledge that more needs to be done to help Michigan students. Some of the policies Whitmer has pushed for that she believes will help improve reading levels include free pre-K for every 4-year-old, free breakfast and lunch to public school students to help them focus in class, and signing bills into law that require schools to use proven methods to teach reading. Democrats feel these policies have helped, but both sides feel this is not the end.
There's a certain amount of kids, they just learn differently, and we have to make sure that we're teaching in a way that they are able to learn.
Issue, our kids can't read, and this is not just throwing money after things. I've been to 13 different countries around the world, and where they don't have budgets in the millions or billions, they're reading in some cases better than we are, and so something's out of order, and it's leadership.
According to the 2025 M-STEP scores, 60% of Michigan 3rd graders and 58% of Michigan 4th graders are not reading on grade level. Now, reading scores have declined throughout the country, but other states have been able to manage to keep that decline slower than Michigan has. Live in Lansing, Isley Herschel, News 10 Today.
All right, Isley, thank you. You can read more responses to last night's State of the State address on our website, WILX.com, or on the News 10 app. You can also watch the governor's speech in full on demand on our digital platforms. That includes our News 10 Plus streaming app.